Okay, so we just got done talking about the common logarithm, and now we're going to move on to the natural logarithm. All right, and so here, instead of being base 10, we got base e. So we get y equals log base e of x. Since it's just a number, we're going to denote it as ln of x. And that is going to be equivalent to e to the y equals x. Okay, so remember, e is just a number. It's approximately 2.71. You should see it on your calculator at some point, if you have a graphing calculator, that is. Actually, interesting fact, if you're using your calculator on your cell phone, it also has an E button. So keep that in mind. All right, let's try to figure out what this graph looks like for the natural logarithm. And let's see, let's fill out our table. So we'll do 1 and then powers of E, since that's our base number. We could even do 10 if we wanted to, and 1 over E squared. There we go. And now let's do the logarithm. So we got natural log of 1 equals y. And so then it's base e to the y equals 1, the only number left. And so we can write 1 as e to the 0, so that implies y equals 0. There we go. Natural log of e equals y. The base of the natural log function is e to the y equals e to the first power. We set the exponents equal, and we get y equals 1. Then we do natural log of e squared equals y. We get e to the y equals e squared, so we get y equals 2. We can see that the pattern continues, so we get 3. Natural log of 10 equals y. This is a good time for you to try and do it yourself, fill in the rest of the table, and then come back. This equals 10. And so we need to know how to write e to the whatever power to get to have our base numbers the same, so that we can set our exponents equal. Now it's not apparent to me right away what e to whatever power equals 10. However, we can figure out that it is between some number and another number. So it's not a nice thing, and so we're just going to skip it for now, okay? But my point is that we would have to get the base numbers the same to figure out what the exponent should be. And that's why we picked nice numbers to begin with. So let's figure out what the next one is. So we got natural log of 1 over e equals y. We got e to the y equals 1 over e. We can write 1 over e as e to the negative 1, and we get y equals negative 1. Similarly, we can do 1 over e squared. We get y equals negative 2. All right, so let's try to graph this and see what the natural log function is. So at 1, we have 0. At e, which is 2.7, we get 1. And then e squared, so a little bit less than 9, we get 2. So somewhere around here. And then at 1 over e, which would be less than 1, we're at negative 1. And then 1 over e squared is even smaller. And there we go. Okay, so this is our y equals the natural log of x function. I wanted to point out we still have a vertical asymptote at x equals 0. Okay, so we still have our domain is 0 to infinity. And you could even talk about the range. If you remember what that is, it's the y's that work. And we see that it goes from negative infinity all the way to infinity. All right, also I wanted to point out that this is an increasing function. Okay, so let's do some remarks. Here we go. 1. What is the natural log of e to the x? So we can actually figure this out. If you're doing this at home, I want you to pause at the video and try to figure it out. What is y? So we're going to put it in the exponential function. So we get e to the y equals e to the x. And so that says that y equals x. So the first thing that we have, if we take the natural log of e to the x, we get x back. That's a special property. Special property is that they're inverses. This says that e to the x and natural log of x are inverses of each other. Maybe you remember that from back in high school of how to find inverses, but there we go. Now, if we look at e to the natural log x, we can figure out what that equals. Let's say y, and then we can change it into a logarithmic form. So it's log, the base number is e of y equals the exponent, but log of e, log base e, is natural log x. Oh, it's natural log x. Natural log y equals natural log x. And so we get natural log, we get that this implies, so if we have the natural log on both sides, since it's a one-to-one function, we get y equals x. So, in summary, we got e to the natural log x equals x, and so this also says that they're inverses of each other. All right, I'll see you in the next video.